what's happening at the east is also happening at the west. And what's happening at the north is instantly taking place at the south. How is that possible? Because there was in fact all one. There never was a split. The split was only in space-time. Okay, I want to say this. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me how difficult it is. Woman is. He said that, woman thinks too much, and he couldn't get along very well with women. Of course, he gracefully managed well, but the point is that there are many times when there were frictions, and he always complained that women have this kind of what they call perfectionist, and they think a lot of things, and you find it difficult to understand what they really want. I told him that actually if you study very carefully, you will discover that the woman thinks exactly what you are thinking about them. The woman also have got a lot of complaint about the man. So what is happening? You're thinking that the woman is a perfectionist, but what do you think the woman thinks of the man? So I told him that actually the real solution is that you have to think what the other party is thinking. Now that's crazy, that's difficult. You got to think what the other party is thinking. You got to find your place in the framework of the other party. You got to be where the other party is. You cannot say that you are the better one and that woman is not the better one. Because the woman is also going to say the same thing about the man. So the solution must be that you should see the other side point of view, and the other side must also see your point of view. It's easier said than done. Now, in today's world, we are experiencing a dramatic turn in the Middle East, right? Israel is having a hard time with the neighboring countries around it. And why is that so? Because Israel is saying that the neighboring countries do not recognize Israel's right to exist. But that's what Israel is thinking about. Is it possible for Israel to take a different view? Can Israel take the perspective of the Islamic world? Is it possible? I would personally find it difficult, because Israel's faith is completely different from the neighboring country's faith. So there's a whole lot of difference in mental attitude and the mind. But if there is going to be a peace framework, then something has got to happen. So what do you think it is? The whole problem is pride. That's right. The very reason why I couldn't see the other person's point of view is because I'm too proud to reject my point of view. And I'm too afraid that my point of view would be rejected. And so I insisted on my point of view. I couldn't see from the other side. It was all because of pride. Very strange. We all behave that we are in the right, not realizing that it requires the sock to drop before we can turn to the other side. And this is what I meant by nullification. When two opposites meet, there has to be a nullification. And if they're not going to nullify each other, there's not going to be a center place of peace. And nullification cannot be the result of me beating off the other guy. Cannot. Nullification is a self-action. I myself have to nullify, and the other party nullifying the self, and we find peace. If I'm going to meet the other party on a higher table, there is no nullification. That's why it is correct to say, I and my Father is one. It is correct. There are those who believe that God is much above men. and man is just a man. No doubt it is in a way true, but the fact is that there's a centrality of peace. There is love. There is union. And for that to happen, there cannot be one above the other. A man and God, they're actually in union. And you cannot really say that God is above and man is below. You cannot really say, because it is this nullification that brings a union of one. And when there is a problem, we don't just merely pray to God. We have to solve the problem ourselves. When there is a problem, we cannot say that someone out there is causing the problem. We are all in a union of one. In other words, I'm also the cause of the problem. We are living in a very special world, a world where the Creator and creation are actually on the same standing. It's a mystery altogether. That's why a husband and a wife cannot just merely say, I'm right and you're wrong. We cannot really say that the other party is more difficult than me. Not possible at all, because actually we are all the same and exactly in total oneness. The approach that we can take to solve our problem must be, therefore, to take the perspective of the other as well. So while we seek to solve our problem, and we find that the other party is causing the problem, we have to switch our perspective and see how the other party is thinking completely. Because the solution is found in the thinking of the other party as well, as we unite to discuss the solution. And it happened to me just a while ago. This afternoon, I went with my friend to play table tennis. That's right. And we were supposed to play with each other. But then, interestingly, he found better players. So he went to play with the other player instead of me. So I was kind of upset because I came there to play with him, but he found the other player a better match. And so he wants to compete with the other player and test his competence with the other player instead of playing with me. So I found myself not playing at all. I was kind of upset. So the solution to that problem, would it be that I would just scold him? Would it be that I would just hammer my way and say, oh, you've done a mischief to me? You see, the fact is that no doubt the other party is in the wrong. If you analyze the whole situation, it must be the other party is in the wrong, because we went together to play table tennis and he played the other player instead of playing with me. But then I realized that I have to take the other person's view. If I were a better player, I would prefer to play with someone I can compete with. If I found a match and I want to challenge that match, and after all, this is just a game of competition and fun, wouldn't I find it more fun if I play with someone else better than me? So when I understand his positioning, I have to step down. So what is happening? I have to lower myself. Myself is in a hangry mood, but I have to bring that self down, and I'm in the wrong. To actually even think that he's wrong. Gosh. Now you must be taken aback, because if you were in my situation, you would have analyzed it, and you would certainly have counted it logically, and you would have said that he's wrong. And I think that's a fact. Even the judge out there would say, you're in the wrong. Even the judge would have said that. But how come I'm picking his perspective? And how come I'm saying, okay, you've done no wrong to me, neither have I? How come am I saying that way? Have you ever wondered why and how it could have happened? Logically, it could never happen. Friend, this is called the union of one. I and that other party is actually one person. And although we are walking together as opposites, and although we are just mere friends, and although we are actually going to play table tennis on that side and on this side, but we are just one person. Gosh, can you see that? Not everyone can see it. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what it means. When two opposites come together, they must nullify. Nullify to what? To zero. The other party has done no wrong to me. And that's exactly what happened in the Garden of Eden. You may think that God was angry. You may think that God drove Adam and Eve out. No, it was Adam and Eve who drove himself out, because they knew the error of their ways. That finally they would return. Finally, human beings would return and pass through the gate of the Garden of Eden. And finally, we would have found our peace with God. Is there a sin? Is there a sin to reconcile with God? Well, in a way you may say that. But actually, in truth, there never was a sin. In truth, when we opened this world into space-time, one found itself at the east, and the other found itself at the west. The other came to the north, and another went to the south. But in the nullification effect, all of us must realize the inwardness, and we all must push in to the level of breath and discover one. If you have learned quantum physics, you would have found it logical. No, because scientists today are discovering this principle, that what is happening at the east is also happening at the west, and what is happening at the north is instantly taking place at the south. How is that possible? Because they were in fact all one. There never was a split. The split was only in space-time. It was only, as I would put it, in the mind. But when it comes to religion, when it comes to philosophies, a whole lot of theology has come about to reconcile sin between God and man. I mean, we have done a lot of thinking to understand and to explain to ourselves how we can live in peace. We have done a lot of thinking when it isn't really necessary, Because the truth is not in the thought, but in the breath.